You ever notice how sometimes it's not the loudest people who break the silence, but the quietest ones? The day everything changed for me, I wasn't planning on being a hero or anything close to it. I was just the janitor with bad knees, minding my own business, swinging that mop around a marble lobby like a guy who knows he's invisible. And then the security guard barked, "Sir, step back. She'll bite." His voice cut through the room like a cold wind. And there she was, a little girl, knees hugged to her chest, rocking right next to a giant steel sculpture meant to impress people with more money than kindness. Her face was empty, but her eyes were wild, darting everywhere but never landing. Around her, a pack of suits and $5,000 shoes looked absolutely lost. One woman muttered into her phone, "She's having another episode. Where's the nanny?" I could barely hear the girl humming to herself over all that expensive silence. Maybe I should have kept walking, but something in the way her fingers tapped out a rhythm only she understood made me pause. I told the guard, "I'm not going to talk to her, man. I just want to sit." And I did, right there on the cold marble, 5 feet away, still smelling like lemon cleaner and old boots. From my car, I took out a bottle of soap, dipped my hand in mop water, and blew bubbles slow and steady. No words, just breath and color. 1, 2, 3 until the girl stopped rocking, her eyes glued to those floating bubbles, following them up like they held all the answers nobody else could give her. I didn't look at her, didn't ask her to do anything. Sometimes you just gotta let a kid come to you. Above us, this woman stood on the mezzanine, shoes that probably cost more than my car, blonde hair pulled so tight she could have cracked walnuts with her jaw. Malene Ward, yeah. That Malene, CEO of Wardcore Biotech. She'd eaten more competitors for breakfast than most folks even meet in a lifetime. But as she watched me calm her daughter with nothing but bubbles, I could see her armor crack just a little. She came down like she owned the play switch. To be fair, she did and said, "Mister, Hale, I want a word. Upstairs. Now." Didn't even ask. Just commanded. Inside her office, it smelled like steel and money, cold and empty. She stared at me, eyes sharp, and finally asked, "Who taught you that?" I told her about my daughter, about teaching special ed before life got heavy, and how bubbles were sometimes the only language that worked. She cut me off, voice brittle. "My daughter doesn't engage, doesn't play, doesn't respond, not to doctors, not to me." But her words wobbled. She didn't finish the sentence, but I didn't need her to. Then she offered me a job, but I wasn't having it. "I'm not looking for charity," I said. Maybe what she needs isn't a job, but someone who doesn't expect her to be fixed. For a second, I thought I'd gone too far, but Melline just looked at me, something painful behind her eyes. Maybe grief, maybe guilt, maybe both. Finally, she nodded. "No cameras. No observers. You work with Eva. That's all." I agreed, but as I left, she called after me, "What color were the bubbles?" I told her blue. Always start with blue. It calms the chaos. Sometimes people think the rich have it easier, that all that glass and steel and silence means you've made it. But that penthouse white walls, sharp corners, not a trace of warmth, felt more like a museum than a home. Melline met us at the door, her daughter, Eva, locked in her room like some fragile treasure. My own girl, Becca, small and sharp as a tack, tagged along. "Is she the quiet girl?" she whispered. "The very one," I smiled. When I met Eva, she was a shadow pressed to the window, looking out at the city like she might vanish if anyone noticed her. I sat 10 feet away, sketching. She didn't move, but after a few minutes, she crept closer, picked up the drawing, and sat beside me without a word. For the first time in a year, she'd chosen company. Melline watched from the door, hand over her mouth, not believing what she saw. We started seeing them every week. Sometimes we'd eat together, just soft food, quiet music, crayons in the middle of the table, nothing fancy. It was the first time I'd seen Melline without her phone glued to her hand, and you could feel the house get warmer. Eva started to trust Becca, even shared a grape, then a crayon, the night she spoke. "Blue," she said, and you could have knocked Melline over with a feather. The real twist? It wasn't therapy that brought Eva out, it was presence. It was sitting on the floor, breathing at her rhythm, not try to fix or coax or rush. Melline fought it, tried to buy solutions, but all her power couldn't build a bridge to her daughter. "You've been standing so long you forgot how to kneel," I told her once, and she almost laughed. I think that's the moment she finally saw me, not as staff, but as someone who might actually understand. But good things make people nervous, especially when you're high up and got too much to lose. Meline's bored. Her PR guy, Greg, they saw trouble brewing. "Your presence raises questions," Greg told me. It could cost her everything. He wanted me to disappear, keep the optics clean, but even needed someone who didn't need her to perform. And I wasn't leaving. Trouble came fast. Eva's father, gone 4 years, tried to take her back, claimed Meline was unfit, accused me of playing doctor. The courtroom smelled like cold coffee and fear. I told the judge, Eva doesn't need more labels. She needs fewer walls. Sometimes the most therapeutic thing you can do is stay. Becca handed in a drawing, 3 stick figures, arms linked under stars. "She says we're blue," she told the judge. "That means safe." The judge gave custody to Meline, therapy for the family, and asked me to stay on. For the first time, I felt like I belonged somewhere I didn't have to hide my past. With her walls down, Meline got brave. She drew up blueprints for a new kind of center open rooms, soft lights, places where kids like Eva could just be. She asked me to help build it not as an employee, but as someone who listens before he speaks. Becca painted stars on the walls. Eva added streaks of yellow for hope. Even Meline learned to kneel in dirt, paint on hands, next to her daughter, not above her. Of course, it couldn't stay simple. A photo leaked Meline barefoot in the garden, laughing, me at her side. The media spun it fast. CEO falls for janitor. Protesters showed up. Greg called for her resignation. But Meline, for once, didn't run. She stood up the press conference, rain pouring down, and said, "I'm not stepping down. I'm stepping up. Not as a CEO, but as Eva's mother." And that man? He's family. It went viral, but this time the world listened differently. People saw something real. The Ward Hale room opened, filled with color and quiet and kids who didn't need a fit mold. Eva gave the first tour. She showed the new kids the wall that felt like clouds, folded paper stars for blue, for hope, for bravery. And she said, "This place is for anyone who felt like a puzzle piece in the wrong box." That night, the 4 of us ate pizza on the rooftop, city lights below. Becca asked if we'd always belong here. I looked at Melanino titles. No walls, just us. "Home," Eva whispered, head on my arm. "That's right," I said, and for the first time, I knew it was true. Love isn't loud. Doesn't always look like victory. It's the choice to stay, to kneel, to listen, even when it's hard. So, let me ask you, what does family look like where you are? Who's the one that makes you feel safe like Blue? If you found a piece of hope in this story, tell me below. Drop your city, your thoughts, or your story about someone who stayed when you needed them most. Because sometimes that's all it takes, one person refusing to leave so the rest of us can finally come home. And hey, if this hit you in the heart, hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, and stay kind because you never know who's waiting for you to kneel, to listen, and to stay.